Here's the skirt. The skirt I'm going to show you, and you can't hardly see it. But it's all the skirt with many colors. So there it is. There it is. Here it is. You can see all of the shells and the scallops at the end, and oh, there's a skirt underneath it because there's holes in the skirt. So you can make it any way you want, and as long as you wear a skirt underneath, you're good to go. So let's make this thing. Okay. Hello and welcome to Chris Loves Crochet and Crochet Recreations. I had mentioned in a previous video that I was going to make a skirt to go along with something else that I'm making, and so I'm going to show you. This is all the yarn that I'm going to use. This yarn all came from Ice, and it is it's a bamboo mix. It's 40% bamboo, 35% cotton, 25% linen, and it's pretty thin. It's a number 2 weight, but it feels great, and these colors are so vibrant and so beautiful that I am going to make a skirt out of it, of these many colors. And this dark green is going to be the main color because it's kind of gardeny, and so green needs to be in a garden. And so it is a number 2, and it doesn't give us, let's see if is there a glare on that? There we go. So it doesn't give us the crochet hook instructions here, but it is a number 2, and it does say that for knitting it requires a 3mm needles. So to translate that to crochet, you typically, the rule of thumb is to go up by 1, so 4mm is what I'll use. So you'll need if you have the same yarn from Ice or another number 2, or really any yarn that you want to use, as long as you have the hook size that goes with it, that's suggested to go with it, you can go along with me, because in this tutorial what I'm going to do is measure my own hips. You measure your own hips, you get a chain going, and then we just go from there. So we are crocheting without a pattern and just making a skirt until it gets to the length and the width. It's going to be a skirt that's going to start off straight, and then it's going to flare out. So it's going to be kind of a wispy, kind of a hippie looking skirt, which is my favorite kind. So this is the Natural Garden from Ice Yarns. If you are interested, iceyarns.com, or anything else that has a little bit of I'm not sure the acrylic would really, unless you have a thinner acrylic, would really drape as well as something that has a bamboo or a cotton blend, not straight cotton, but like a cotton blend would do as well. So I'm going to start with the waistband and then jump in and show you where I am, and I will see you soon. Thanks for joining. Okay, so here is the part that I've finished so far on the skirt that's going to go with the flower shawl. So I have all of my colors that I'm going to be using in my skirt over here, just to inspire me. I was running out of this ball of yarn. That's not a full ball. I used it on something else. So before I started, I was about to connect these two, and I thought I would show you what I do. I don't tie off. I don't finish off a ball and tie off and then use a slip stitch to start again. And I don't quite do a Russian join. I don't remember what this is called, but all I'm doing is I'm taking 2 pieces, like the end of the one and the beginning of the new ball of yarn, and you take the one strand and you fold it over so that you are tying a knot, and I don't really know how to explain it very well. So you tie a knot on one side, you take the end of the new one, and you tie a knot on the other side, that you're just tying a knot around the other strand. So I've tied the two knots, I pulled them kind of tight, and then you take the ends here and you just pull until those knots come together, and then yank on it pretty good. And then you take these two ends here, and you can cut them pretty close. I have cut them too close though, and the knot does unravel with some things. So I don't tend to cut them right on the edge, but I will cut them pretty close, and it'll just leave a little bit of homemade goodness in it. So anyway, to get started, the skirt that I started, this is the waistband or the hip band. What I did first was to measure the widest part of my hips, since it's got to get over the hips. And what I measured with my trusty tape measure, I rounded up to about 40 inches. It wasn't that much lower than 40 inches, but let's just say it was. So I rounded up a little bit, up to 40 inches. Don't round down, because you've got to get it over your hips. I mean, there's a lot of stretch in it, but I want a skirt that kind of hangs flowingly. So of course, when it comes up to my waist, it's not going to stay on my waist. And so when I'm finished with the skirt, then I'm going to come back up here, and I don't like to put in elastic. So what I'm going to do is put probably a row of a single crochet, row or two of single crochet, and then through these double crochet that I started with, I'm just going to lace through a chain, and then just use it to close up my skirt that way. So this is the top, this is the bottom of the skirt. So I'm working from top to bottom. So I'm going to flip it over. And I just finished this row, and what I did was I started with a foundation double crochet. I have a really hard time with my chains becoming much smaller once I put stitches in them. Even using the trick of the one size bigger crochet hook, for some reason I lose a lot of length. So I like to use the foundation. So I just did it until I had 40 inches. I didn't count them, didn't do anything. I used it until I had 40 inches of foundation double crochet all the way. And then I came back around and I attached it. And then I did a total of 9 rows. So including the foundation double crochet was a total of 9. So I did 8 more rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I stopped and I counted, and what I found was I had 152 stitches. The way I did my double crochet, I had 152 stitches, and I'm going to start with the shells here, and what I'm going to do is a shell of 3 double crochet to start with. That'll give me plenty of room to grow the skirt out so that it can have kind of an A line or kind of a flowy look to it. So I needed it to be multiples of 3 if I'm going to do a shell of 3 double crochet. So I had to, since it was 152, I had to add 1 to make it 153 so that it would be divisible by 3. So on the last round, so that's why I stopped, and I knew that I wanted to have 10 rounds here on the top. So on the last round, if I had more, if I needed to add 2, then I would space them out, or if I needed to add, I wouldn't need to add 3, but if I needed to add 2, then I would have spaced them out. I only had 1, so I just put it right here. I just put 2 double crochet in that spot right after I started the row, and that's fine. I wouldn't decrease because we're trying to make it into a flowy skirt, so I would always increase. I am using Natural Garden, like I had said before, Ice Yarns Natural Garden. It doesn't tell you what size crochet hook to use, but what it does tell you is the size for the knitting needles, and it says 3, and so the rule of thumb is to go 1 up from the knitting needle. So if this is a US 3 for knitting needles, then I am going to use a 4. And since I'm just going to follow that, that's what I'm going to do. So I've been using a 4 on this. So I'm going to start the row now of 3 double crochet shells all the way around. So I'm going to start with a chain of 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's your first double crochet. And then in that same stitch where I did my slip stitch to connect the rows, I'm going to do 2 more double crochet because that first chain 3 counts as a double crochet. So then I've got 3 here. Now I'm going to skip 2 stitches and I'm going to make another shell of 3 double crochet. 3. I'm going to skip 2 stitches and I'm going to go into this stitch and make 3 double crochet. You yarn over, you go in, you pull up your yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 is a double crochet. Yarn over, go into the same stitch, pull up your yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, that's 2, and 1 more, that's 3. So I'm going to skip 2 and do the same thing, and I'm going to do that all the way around. And since I've already counted, there's not a whole lot of counting that I need to do. It's going to end up being 51 shells as I go around because 3 goes into 153 51 times. So I'm going to just do this all the way around, and now we'll meet you back here at the beginning. So we're just doing 3 double crochet, skip 2, 3 double crochet in the same stitch, skip 2, 3 double crochet in the same stitch all the way around, and I'll meet you back in a minute. Okay, so I've come around to the end here, so there's room for 1 more shell, so I'm going to skip 2 and go into this stitch and do 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm just going to go right into the top of the first chain. So we have a chain 3 and then 2 double crochets for this first shell. So I go into the top of the chain or the chain that's just over to the right of that middle double crochet there. So go to the top of the chain and get a couple of strands, don't just get one, and do a slip stitch. Now I've been thinking about this, and I'm not a really big fan of the granny square and that granny stitch look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 1 and continue around, do 1 more round with this green of single crochet. And then what I'm going to do is fasten off and then get another color and do the double crochet shells in the single crochet. So I'll be doing it in a stitch, skipping 2 stitches in a stitch, and I'll just place them between these. So anyway, I'll show you that. So I chained 1 and there's single crochet, single crochet in every one. So in each of the top of the 3 double crochets in each one of the shells is getting a single crochet all the way around. And then I'm going to fasten off and I'm going to start a new color. But I will meet you at the end of this round and we'll start it off together. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, so I've come all the way around. So this is what it looks like. The 3 double crochet shell with a single crochet around the top of those, or the bottom of those, because the skirt's going to go that way. So I've come to the end and I am going to find my first single crochet, not the chain 1, but the first single crochet, go under both strands of yarn under the whole V and do a slip stitch right here. And then chain 1 to fasten off. Now what I'm going to do is change colors here. I was thinking about it and I think that I am going to stay with the I'm going to stay with the same width with the same shell size for probably another 10 rows of shells, so that it's going to start, my skirt's going to start flaring out after a good little length. So that's what I'm going to do. Now you could start adding to your shells now if you wanted to. And certainly if you like the granny stitch, you don't have to do a row of singles. You can go right into doing your shells here in between, if that's what you want to do. I'm just a little persnickety about that, and I like to do it in my stitches. So what I'm going to do now is to grab another color, and I am going to go, I think, with, I don't know, should I go in the order or should I pick them out? Anyway, I'm going to do another color, and I'm going to do different lengths, different numbers of rows per color. So I think like I might do 5 rows of shells, 5 shell rows. So that would be 10 rows, because you have a shell row and then a single crochet row, a shell row, single crochet row. I may do like 5 rows of the shells, or I may do 3, or I may do 7. So that it doesn't look too planned out. I don't like for things to look too neat and nifty. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to use this gold color and probably do about 3 with this one. Put down. And then I will change it again to another color. So I have fastened this off. Now I am going to do a slip knot on my hook here, and do a slip knot on. And where I'm going to do the slip knot is where I'm going to do the the shell. And I'm going to do the shell. Let's see, where should I do it? I'm going to do the shell in the last, in the first of one of the 3s in the single crochet that's above the first double crochet in a 3 double crochet shell. So because that takes me closest to the center, closest to the middle. So here's the first double crochet in that 3, and then here's the single crochet that's stitched in it. And if you look at the 2 shells here, that stitch right there is going to look like I'm stitching right in between these 2 shells. So it's going to have that offset pattern. And that's what I'm looking for, is that offset pattern. So I'm going to go into this stitch right here, do a slip stitch to connect, pull that tight, and then chain 3. And then do 2 more double crochets for the shell. Pull that. Pull that over. I'm going to pull it over. No, I'm not going to pull it over. I'll hide that tail later. So now we skip 2 stitches again, skip 2 of the single crochet, and do 3 double crochet in this stitch again. And now this stitch is the single crochet that is crocheted in the first of the 3 double crochets on the row below that. So now all we have to do is skip 2 stitches again all the way around with 3 double crochets, skip 1, skip 2, 3 double crochets here. So, oops, lost it. So this is what I'm going to do. You can do it anyway. If you want to change the color on the single crochet so that it looks like it's closed off, and then it would have a little bit of a different look. I'm going to do it like this so that you can see where the shells change. So my single crochet, whenever I change colors, I'm going to end on a single crochet row and then fasten off and then start with a shell. So I'm going to do a few of these gold color shell rows with single crochet in between, and then I'm going to change to another color and do a few, but I will be back once I get another 10 total of 10 rows of those 3 double crochets, and then I'm going to increase it to 4 double crochets all the way around, and we'll keep it like that for a while. Okay, so I'm going to continue with this, and you continue with yours, and we'll meet back up after you've got your 10 rows total of the shell rows. So we have a shell row, a single crochet, shell, single crochet. I'm going to do 3 shell rows of the gold, and then I'm going to pick another color, maybe the lilac, maybe, and do like 5 of those. But once I get a total of 10 shell rows, then I'll be back. Okay, so here I finished 10 rows of the 3 double crochet shells. So one was in green, I did 3 in the gold, and then I did 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this salmon color. So so I had the shell, the single crochet, the shell, single crochet, and 10 rows of it. So we're still at the same width. We still should have 153 stitches all the way around. And what I'm going to do at this point is change to a 4 double crochet shell. So also, before I get started, I want you to notice, if you can, if I can show you, we see, of course, where the chain is here, where the slip stitches to connect are here, and then with this short, just these 3 shell rows, you can see where the chain stitches are here, or the 3 chain are here, the chain 3 I should say are here for the double crochet, and then I started over 1, and then for the pink you can see that stitch. So what I'm doing each time is moving over a little bit, and so for the pink I probably should have moved over a couple, since I knew I was going to, or the salmon, since I knew I was going to do 6 rows. So before I start the lilac, which will be my next color, I'm going to move over and start about here, so that as I do the next, I don't know, like 4 or 5 rows, then this little seam will stay in the center of the back. So this is going to be the back piece right at the back. Or the side, I don't know. So I'm going to start the next row with a 4 double crochet shell. So like I said, I'm going to move over here, and I'm still working in the single crochet that is on top of the first double crochet of the previous row's shell. So I'm going to do that and do 4. So I slip stitch on. I always like to get this little tail in at least a little bit. I'm going to sew them in later, since we skipped so far in between the shells. I don't like to really drag it over that far. So do our little chain 3, 1, 2, 3. That's our first double crochet. And now I'm going to do 3 more, because I want to do 4 double crochet in 1 stitch. 4 double crochet in 1 stitch, and then since we're still doing it on the row that had the 3 double crochet, in order to keep the shells in between, I'm still only going to skip 2 on this first time around. On the first time around, I'm only skipping 2 and doing 4 double crochets in the same stitch. And then skipping 2, and then I'm in that single crochet that's right above the first double crochet of the shell from the previous row, and I'm going to do 4 double crochets in that same stitch. 3 and 4. So I'm going to do that all the way around, and that's going to give me quite a bit of a flare. So I'm going to keep it at the 4, for so I'm going to do this row, and then I'll do a row of single crochet and another row of shells and a single crochet, and then change color and do another 10 rows. So I'll have, so the shells started with the green right here, so I'll have about this much more the next time I see you, and but it'll be with the 4, but not the next time I see you, because I'll come back at the end of this row, and then I'll show you after my single crochet, because once I do all of these 4 double crochet shells all the way around, then I'm going to do a row of single crochets in every single stitch. So that's going to give me that additional stitch, because I'm going to do 4 single crochets on the top of every shell instead of the 3 single crochets on the top of every shell. Did I say double earlier? I'm sorry. I meant single crochets on the top of every shell, 4 of them on top of every shell. And then I'll come back to you when we start the second row of shells of the 4 double crochet. So I finished the row with the 4 double crochet shells and the single crochet around on each one of the 4 double crochets. So when I start my second row of shells of 4 double crochet shells, chain up 3, and I'm starting here where I connected it. So I'm at the first double crochet, which is that chain 3 of the shell. So I chain up 3, and then I do 3 more. So I have 4 double crochets, 2, 3, 4. And now instead of skipping 2, since I put in my single crochet all the way around, I'm going to skip 3. So 1, 2, 3, and that puts me, if I skip 1, 2, 3, that puts me in the single crochet that's on top of the first double crochet of the 4 double crochet shell, which is the spot that's right in the middle. So we have that offset look. So I'm going to go right into that single crochet. I skipped 3, and then I'm going to put 4 double crochet in this one stitch. 3, 4. And then skip 3, 1, 2, 3, end up here at this single crochet of the first double crochet of the shell before, and do 4 double crochets. All right, so we've got you on that path. So whatever color you're on, I'm just picking colors as I am inspired to. So we can see that this row, can you see? It's flaring out a little bit. It's going to take a few rows, couple rows to get its shape. So I'm going to do probably 10 rows, like I said, of the shell. And then I think what I'm going to do, I'll have to see, and we'll see. You'll see it much sooner than I'll see it. I think I'm going to do 10 rows of double crochet in this dark green somewhere down here to give it kind of a break of the shells. And then when I start back in, then what I'm going to be doing is the shell of 5 stitches, but I'm going to do trebles. So I'm going to do 5 trebles after 10 rows of the 4 doubles shells, then a little patch of green, of dark green, a little patch of dark green, and then I'm going to do some 5 treble shells of another color. And so we'll be moving this skirt out and out and out. I'm probably going to take it to my favorite length is just below my knee. So it could be a long skirt. You could keep going as long as you want, but I'm probably going to take it just as far as down to just below my knee, unless I just get really crazy. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I have really long skirts, but so I'm going to be working on this, and I will check back in with you and show you where I am, see what's happening. Okay, see you in a bit. So this is where I am so far. And as I mentioned, I'm increasing the size of the shells as I go along. So I started here with the double crochet, straight double crochet with the dark green and the 3. What's that? Oh, it's the 3. This is the back side. No, it's not. Yes, it is. This is the 3, excuse me, the 3 double crochet shell with a single crochet and then a 3 and then a single. And then once I got 10 of them, then I'm changed to a 4 double crochet shell. And I didn't do 10 of these though. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these. I realized I was losing room. I was running out of room because I don't want this to be a really long skirt. It's not like a maxi skirt. It's just going to go just below my knees. So I just did 7, including this green one. Oh, the 4. No, not including the green one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 4. And then I did 1 of the green with the 5. And again, when I changed up here, when the first row of 5, I still only was working on top of the 4. And so I only skipped 3 in between to make it 5. But I wanted to do that before I did this little strip. I told you I was going to do a strip of a few double crochet rows like is on the top, just to give it a little bit of interest. Now again, because I was running out of space, running out of length, I cut that way back to just 3 rows of that. And then I continued on. So it was done with the same number of stitches as it takes for 51, 5. What is that? 200 and something, 250, 60 something, I don't know, stitches all the way around with the 5 double crochet shells. And so then when I came back, I went to a treble stitch so that it's a little bit more drapey. And I'm still using the same 4mm hook, 4mm clover hook. And so I have the 5 of the green, and then I did a single crochet. Then I thought, I'm get a little anxious to finish, so I'm going to add a little bit more length here. So I did the next row of treble crochet, 5 treble crochet shells. But then instead of a single crochet row, I did a half double crochet row. Just a little tiny bit more length in each row that I do. And then I need to, oh, there goes my clock. Then I need to, since I am doing a 5, on a 5, I need to skip 4 stitches. And so with a treble, I'm able to skip 4 stitches and it's not getting too stretched. So it's still a nice simple 5. And I'm doing a half double now in between the shell, half double crochet row, and then the shell. And I'm going to do probably 3 of these, and then I'm going to bring in my favorite pink. I love pink. My favorite pink. And do another 3 on the bottom, and then I'll finish off probably not with just a half double crochet, but maybe with some loops. Maybe do a chain 3 every other stitch or something like that. I'll show you when I get there. Okay, see you in a bit. One more thing I forgot to show you. I wanted to show you where I am on the Never Ending Flower shawl and how cool that looks with the skirt. So here's the colors that we're using in the shawl, and there's all kinds of tails. Yes, there are. But this is my Never Ending Flower shawl that I'll wear up at the top over something, and then have this fabulous skirt underneath it. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to finish both of them. I keep splitting my time between this and 5 other whips I'm doing. So I wanted to show you that, how well that's coming together, if I do say so myself. So I got to bring the pinks in. Okay, that's it really. Okay, see you in a bit. So I've gotten down to my last row, and I figured out what I wanted to do. So I thought I would let you in on the secret. So last time we were doing 5 treble crochet shells. And so I did a couple of those. I did a green one and then 2 of the fuchsia. And then this third fuchsia actually is 6 trebles and the half double crochet. And then what I did here is with the pink, I did 7 trebles and then a double crochet, not a half double, but a full double crochet here. Like I said, I did not want this to be really long, and as you can see, I'm running out of length, and so I wanted to have a decent amount of pink so it didn't just look like an afterthought. So I have a row of 7 treble shells and then a row of double crochets. And now I want 7 because I want to do a scallop of 7 trebles, and in order to do that I need a multiple of 7 so that I can I'll show you. So I got to turn it around here, working on the back. All my tails still waiting for me to sew them in, hide them. Okay, so I have slip stitched to connect here, still with my 4mm hook and my number 2 weight Natural Garden from Ice, and I'm on a pink. And so what I'm going to do, I just finished the shell and then a double crochet, and now I'm going to do a scallop. And I think in my own vocabulary, we all have our own ways of saying things. A shell is just several stitches in one stitch, and you can put a chain 1 or chain 2 inside there, and then you can have like a V shell or something like that. But with a scallop, it's a shell, but it's attached down on both sides. And so what I want to do is first I'm going to start, since I'm here in the center, well, between these two. So I'm here at the beginning of this shell from the row below, and I'm doing treble. So I'm going to chain up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now I'm going to do 7 trebles. So I'm going to do 6 more because I want 7 total. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And now instead of just hopping over here and doing another 7 and having the shells look the same, I'm going to do a scallop. And so I'm going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3. And then if I put it in here and then I skip, that's not going to work. So if I skip 3 and I go ahead and attach it in between, that's what I'll do, because now I only have 6 in between because I'm using 1 of the 7. So I have 6 in between, so that if I'm going to attach it, then I want to attach it halfway. So halfway of 6 is in between the first 3 and the last 3. So I just use this stitch, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and right here in between these 2, I'm going to put a single crochet. And now I'm going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and that puts me at the double crochet that is in the first treble of this next shell. So that's where I'm going to start my 7 treble scallop. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. And now if I skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and go in between here, not in the stitch, but between the 2 posts, and do a single crochet, then I have a scallop. And this, let me do one more and you can kind of see how it's going to end up. I skip 1, 2, 3, and in the stitch, I'm going to do the 7 treble scallop in the stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I skip, so I'm in this stitch, I skip 3, 1, 2, 3, go in here in between the 2 posts, and I go in there. It's not in a stitch, it's between the 2 stitches, and I do a single crochet. So this part over here, the first one, is going to be slip stitch to with my single crochet over here. So we have these nice big fans, well, these nice big shells, and then we have these scallops, which are more like fans, along the bottom. And so the bottom is going to have that scalloped look. And so that's all the pink that I get. I'm a little disappointed, but I didn't think ahead very much and put a whole lot of salmon. A whole lot of salmon and a whole lot of green up here on the top, which is fine because I don't want a whole lot of stripes up there at my hips and tummy and everything like that. And so I have a lot more colors, a lot more activity going on down here. But only going to just below my knees, because if it went down to my ankles, my mom would have a fit. Because if I have too much activity down low, I'm short. I'm 5'2", and so that's why this is going to be a kind of a long skirt on me, longish skirt on me. So I can't have all kinds of activity down at my ankles, or it makes me look really short. Not that I think there's anything wrong with that, but my mother has a fit. So this is where I am, and I'm going to go ahead and finish up and show you the finished product. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon. And there it is. There it is. I have to name this skirt. It's the skirt of many colors that goes with my still not done never-ending flower shawl. But that's not what this video is about. This tutorial is about this skirt. This skirt. So here is the bottom with the scallops, the shells. There's a little few rows of the double crochet. Come up, and then here is the top where I don't like to do the elastic because it takes too long. And then I just don't seem to do it very well. So I just chained the green, the dark green and the light green, and just made a chain of a couple hundred, and then used a safety pin and wove it in and out of the double crochet, the single crochets around the top, and then put it on there as a waistband. So there is the skirt. See if I can, there's a little side, so maybe I'll get a picture out, maybe I'll get a thumbnail of me wearing it. Maybe I'll finish that other shawl. Anyway, there it is. There's the puppy. Say hi, Lucy. Hello, Lucy. Hello. There's the skirt. Thanks. And remember, we always have a choice, so choose happy.